A bit of a curveball. How do you sell religion? Brands and ad agencies love flirting with the divine. Earlier this series, we showed you a British ice cream ad featuring a pregnant nun and the slogan, "Immaculately Conceived." Benetton famously used religion as a shock tactic, Apple for less shocking purposes. And then there was this Israeli ad for HD TV.
לראשונה בישראל, ורק ב-yes, High Definition, לחוויה קולנועית גדולה מהחיים.
Can't wait for their variety show, Oy Vey, at Saturday. But that's how advertising uses religion. How does religion use advertising? Here's the most high-profile religious ad campaign of recent times.
Hey, Jesus. Thanks for everything. Like, thanks for sunshine. But what about sunburn? How come the more you have, the more you want? We've got more friends, but less friendship. More convenience, less patience. More hope, but more uncertainty. A healthy body still isn't good enough. And how come the best things always have to end?
Jesus has answers. That's why if I ever go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, here's my phone a friend option. All About Life ran in New South Wales in 2009. Similar but less ambitious campaigns have been road tested in South Australia, the ACT and Tasmania. The New South Wales version was funded by 1,500 individual churches. Todd, do you think it works?
Potentially, yes. So they had done a lot of research, and basically the finding was church is bad, Jesus is cool. So they focused on their strength, which is Jesus. But the advertising certainly won't solve the problem that brand Christianity has. I mean, if you think of Christianity as a brand or a product, then its retail shops are churches. And most people would say the retail shops are letting the brand down. And so you can paint the advertising and make that look really good. If the experience is not very good, it's not going to work. And probably the best rebranding of the shopping experience is done by Hillsong. Yeah. I mean, they've just dramatically changed the retail shop, the church, through theatre and music, and they modernised it. So I think the advertising goes part of the way, but it certainly doesn't go all the way.
Really what they're trying to do here is normalise the idea of Jesus, and if you like, just make it all very run-of-the-mill, very day-to-day, and if you like, try and invite people to have a conversation that they may otherwise feel uncomfortable to have. Now, we do know that this campaign has worked. We know that there's been an increase in visitation to churches. And interestingly, one of the great successes of it is funded by all different church, all the different colours of church have funded this. So that in itself is probably seen as a success by those involved.
In a way, they're preaching to the converted, and people always say that as if that's a bad thing to do. It's not. It's a really sensible thing to do. So this ad is doing a really smart marketing job of remembering you cannot take your core users for granted. You do that, and that's when you start to lose your followers to, well, other religions or no religion.
Because they have made a choice in doing it, and they've said they open the ad with Jesus, thanks for everything.
Hey,
thanks.
Jesus.
Hey, Jesus.
Hey, Jesus.
Thanks for...
Hey, Jesus.
Hey, Jesus.
Hey, Jesus.
They've obviously made a deliberate decision to say, well, half of people may not listen, but, I think there'll be half that do, and they're the half we need to get and shore up our user base, and in that sense. And, the same number of people claim to visit a place of worship regularly as go to Bunnings in the last 4 weeks. That's about 3 or 4 million people. It's not out of fashion. It is popular in these things, and I think it is important for them to continue to reinforce.
You know who wouldn't go to Bunnings, though? Jesus. He'd freak out because of the nails.
But his dad was a carpenter.
Here's another recent religious ad.
You are not your name. You're not your job. You're not the clothes you wear or the neighborhood you live in. You're not your fears, your failures, or your past. You are hope. You are imagination. You are the power to change, to create, and to grow. You are a spirit that will never die. And no matter how beaten down, you will rise again. Scientology. Know yourself. Know life.
Wow, I sound awesome. That ad was first screened in the US last year, but has been running here for a few months. Stateside, they reckon the campaign drove 20 million people to the Scientology website. Jane, why would it have such an effect?
Well, it's like an Anthony Robbins speech. It's classic motivational techniques about you are this, you are that, you can rise, you can win, you are not your failures, you are bigger than that. I find it fascinating that you are all different genders, sexes and ages, but you're certainly not fat and you're certainly not ugly. There's not anyone who looks like that in there. So it's very aspirational and it is pure motivational.
Religion, as brands, have historically all been about collectivism, so not about the individual. But this is about individualism. So this is kind of going, all right, well, it's important. And in a way, it pulls them away from all the other areas. Whether you like them or not, as a positioning thing, it's pretty clever.
It's really selling you the end benefit, if you want, of what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's
rather than questioning and you know, these things, it's actually telling you what you're going to get if you come with us and what your life is going to feel like. And they've done a great job, because unlike the Christian ad, the Jesus ad before, they know if they have Scientology up front, everybody won't look. So they keep Scientology right to the end.
That's right.
And they hold you and they draw you all the way in, and then bang, Scientology. And then everyone goes, oh, God, that was Scientology, my God.
Well, let's look at religion's biggest celebrity endorsement. Here's some highly convincing acting in a Scientology video made for use within the church.
Being a Scientologist, when you drive past an accident, it's not like anyone else. As you drive past, you know you have to do something about it, because you know you're the only one that can really help. They said, so, like, have you met an SP? I looked at them.
Nuts? Anyone for nuts? Tom, just a bit of a word of advice to you, mate, there. Scientologists aren't the only people who can help at accidents. If I'm in an accident, call a paramedic, not a Scientologist. Okay, this is the question, though. Tom Cruise, marketing advantage or disadvantage?
Total advantage.
Yes.
Absolutely brain-smashing, ball-tearing advantage for
Brain smashing is a good...
It's because, I mean, that's an internal video. You know, so all the converted Scientology people, they're sitting there looking at one of the world's greatest stars, who's one of them. I mean,
babbling.
It's almost... I mean, aspiration is so important in brand building, and that is highly aspirational.
But if you look at their strategy, so a clear pillar of their strategy, unlike any other religion, is celebrity endorsement.
Yeah.
And they have celebrity centres all around the world that cater, in Australia, specifically to celebrities. They have their own door in, they have their own... And their sort of motto for celebrity centres is turning celebrities into success stories that walk and talk Scientology. And they do that incredibly well. This is the old influence the influencers, except they're using celebrities.
This is how the Mormons grab our attention.
Hey, Mum, why don't we all go rollerblading tonight?
Not tonight, honey.
Mum, spending time with me now means having a better chance of being close to me when I'm a teenager. And I become a roller coaster of emotions. How are you going to deal with that if we're not close?
Go get your blades.
Give your family everything. Give them your time. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hey, Mum, I'm a precocious little brat. I bet you're regretting having kids at all. That taps into the guilt many parents have about not spending enough time with their families. Jeremy, why would that work?
Look, it'd work because in Australia particularly, we work longer hours than any other nation. We're more stressed than any other nation, and we spend not enough time with our children. Everyone who has children feels that, and everyone would like to. And as a society, we've put children on a pedestal and said they're more important than anything else. So they're a really important leverage point in these sorts of communications. Why it doesn't work is because the whole thing is completely and utterly plastic. The child is a precocious little brat, coming back to his mother like that. That's the artificial house at the front, the idea of rollerblading, which no one does anymore. The whole thing just eeks of out of touchness, and then it has no relevance and no conclusion at the end, and they just stick the brand on, and so it does more damage for the brand than good. Already a brand which is somewhat stigmatised and has a lot of odd things around it, and obviously the issue around polygamy and tied in with the Mormons is an issue there, and you're talking about mums and how many mums and these sorts of things. You know,
I'm already thinking of another ad for the Mormons.
Yeah, and I say that whether that's a truth or
powerful one.
It's a truth or a myth, but I mean it's there, and you know, is that a bit of an own goal for them? It just seems poorly thought through. It's ill thought through.
There's something else that's deeply annoying. It really gets up my nose about that ad. There is Mum. She's not watching porn or drinking booze when a kid says, come and play. She's cooking a healthy dinner. She's cutting up vegetables. Poor Mum, she can't win. If she goes out rollerblading with the kid and gets pizza for dinner, she's a bad mother because she's contributing to childhood obesity. If she stays cooking a nice healthy dinner, she's a bad mother because she's not close to her kids and they're going to be horrible when she's a teenager. Stop advertising like that.
That's another ad for polygamy, because one mum could cook dinner while the other one... Finally, an ad from Answers in Genesis, a creationist ministry based in Kentucky, run by Australian Ken Ham. If you still have any doubts about whether to believe, this could make up your mind.
If you don't matter to God, you don't matter to anyone.
Are you feeling godly, punk? Go ahead, make my Opus Dei. Russell, will scaring people into religion work?
I thought that's what hell was for.
Yeah.
Look, I think one of the things that we haven't discussed is segmentation. That, you know, we are not a mass. We don't all behave on a mass, and different people have got different attitudes, and there will be some people that could be scared into getting on board.
Well, generally, religious advertising is run most often in rough times. Terrorism, times of poverty, recession. The thing that they're tagging on the back of, the disaster that they're playing off of, is the massacres at schools. And so they're saying, the point of this ad is to say, if schools keep teaching evolution, and they keep saying that we are no more than apes, and we have no creator that allows us to be accountable, then we're useless and worthless, and therefore we could go around shooting each other.
We can do anything.
That's what that ad's actually trying to communicate. And the technique they use is also interesting. They chose a clean-cut, white, American boy that is similar to the people that were actually doing it in Columbine and all of those issues. And they shot it in a farming area, and I mean, it's heavily impactful, but it is an awful piece of communication.
It's a terrible, terrible ad.
And, you know, there's a lot of assumed knowledge there from your just description there. I mean, most people that would just go over their head. It is just frightening.
They are preaching to the converted. So the people that see that ad, that are a part of that, know what that's all about.
Yeah. I think fear is good at keeping people in. I don't think it's good at attracting new people in.
The Gruen transfer, find true heaven.